everyone, and welcome to a new video where we step into a different genre. Within this new episode of Fantasy Voyages, we will explore the majestic creature called the Mounted Beetle. Now, I would like you to imagine a universe where beetles with their intricate exoskeletons and diverse species are harnessed as majestic mounts for characters on epic adventures. These mounted beetles could vary in size, color, capabilities, with some being swift and agile for fast travel, while others might have unique abilities like camouflage, flight, or even emitting magical energies. These creatures could forge unique bonds with their riders, forming partnerships that mirror the relationships between humans and real-world animals. Now, matching the shape of the structure on top of the beetle with the shape of its body. Here we can ask ourselves questions like, how do we make sure that the structure doesn't slide off? How does the structure not disturb in its natural movement? And even perhaps, what's the climate they are currently traveling through? Now, as we're going to explore the design, this beetle has obviously very intricate shapes on its body. It has the horns on its head and even a shell that protects its wings on the backside. I really tried to imagine of this creature being able to traverse to the deserts of any region, and in that case I made sure that I knew what kind of materials I'm using, like perhaps wood traded from different kind of regions. The tent is a bit more tattered due to its wear and tear from the environment, from sand blasting on the cloth. I'm using different colors to show the different kind of materials that I'm using within the design to really make them stand out. Like the wood is darker while the cloth is a bit lighter, and some middle tones to show some other kind of material that is not yet determined. When designing these mounts, I really try to think of the way of living of the people mounting these creatures. Like, where are they from? How do they use these creatures to traverse whatever environment they're from? How do they make sure that the creatures do what they want? In this case, I created some kind of pole on the top with some food that it would eat in order to go to the direction that is desired. And perhaps where do they sit? I created a small chair with some reins attached to the horns and a piece of wood so they could really steer the creature in a direction. Now, to make the design pop a bit more, I created the silhouette of the creature in order to make the design pop and really have a focus on how it would be mounted. Now, I created several different designs and I will explore them throughout the entire video and really explore a different kind of wealth between these regions. For example, the very first one is a very simple design, perhaps one or two people traversing on the design, but the next one that I'm drawing right here is someone with a bit more of a middle class status. It's a merchant that is transporting his wares and needs to make sure that it stays out of the sun, the blazing sun within the desert. So I created some tattered cloths, but a bit bigger of a structure and a bit more quality showing within. It has a simple design with smaller sticks to make sure that the creature can carry more instead of having to focus on carrying the structure. Now, what might it be transporting? If you think back to the desert climate, then it might very well be like some kind of fruits, from weapons for the guard, or perhaps tools that farmers next to the rivers might use in order to apply to their crops, things that might not grow there. Fabrics, perhaps even water. Really thinking about small things like that. Now, a merchant needs to make sure that he is showing that he is present. He needs to show, I'm selling something, and in order to do that, he has small flags that wave in the wind. And also here I try to show how it's attached and supported on the back of the very creature. I really try to implement a clear view of the belts by not really hanging something over the very object itself. Otherwise it would just be covered and you wouldn't really get the message. In those deserted places, very often the material of the stuff isn't really of high quality, so it might seem that things are wrapped together in order to tie together, or there might be holes in the tent. Things like that. Things that really show the kind of nature and history of the object and collaboration between the creature and its rider. Now, in the next design of the mount, I wanted to show even more wealth of the very person that might be riding this creature, and I tried to show this by creating wooden ornaments showing more wealth other than function. The cloth seems to have a bit more of detail into it, like the small little points on the end. Is supported like some kind of carriage that might be pulled by some horses. Small elements like that, really showing that this is not to be used for work, but rather show off status, showing the importance of the person riding the very creature. Perhaps there might be some kind of wealthy prince sitting in the back in the shade, while in the front there might be a person, like some kind of servant, riding the creature and steering it in the path it's desired. And even the material here, like the wood ornaments that show the detail and the craftsmanship, but also the chain that is used to steer the creature on its horns. The use of chains is often shown as also a status of wealth, depending on how rich you are, but in this case, metal chain other than rope within the desert already shows how this person can afford other materials that might be more expensive within the region. Now, basically in every design I've created so far, I created some kind of platform for the people to sit on or to stand on. There is actually one design later that I will show you within this video with a set of design, but most of them had platforms so that they could transport as much of their goods, like traveling merchants, things like that. And basically every design has some kind of way of keeping from the shade. Either way, it might be from clothing, but most of the designs here just had some kind of cloth hanging above the rider and the goods that it was transporting with the beetle. Speaking of saddles, I really wanted to make sure that there's also a very simple design for people like families or farmers that might be used. Like in this case, I made a dual saddle for perhaps a small family of a farmer and his wife, of a farmer and his child, going to the market and perhaps pulling a sled behind it if it would like, but mainly focusing on a saddle with 2 people riding on it. Also here you can see the rope that's attached to the horns, this time with some rings through the horns, and this also shows that it's simple and it's functional. In addition to this, in this side view you can really only see the back horn that is attached to, but here you see only really one horn that is attached to, but really in a 3D perspective I imagine it being like 2 horns with each side of the reins being attached to it, and when you pull one side it would pull the creature to the other side, steering it into a different direction. But anyway, that's it for today. I want to thank you all for listening in and watching me create these concepts for the Mounted Beetle. If you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe, you know the drill, comment if you like, and I want to thank you again for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day.